Swadika. Welcome to Matters Academy. My name is Jamie Piyada Monmaneerat. I'm the project leader of Thailand Manta Project. I'm in charge of doing the research of manta populations and also promoting conservation of these animals in Thai waters and in Thailand, which is my home country. Thank you, Matters Academy, for having me. I'm very excited to be sharing with you the knowledge about the manta race that I know, and more importantly, what you can do to help save our ocean. But first, let me introduce myself. A little bit more about me. How did I become involved with the marine conservation world and get to work with the animals that I love so much, the manta race? It actually started differently than what you might have heard or known before. I've started through beauty pageant. I was involved in the Miss Scuba International pageant, which was in 2012. It's quite a while ago, but this pageant was looking for a female figure that will help promote marine conservation and diving as a sport, especially for female. I ended up winning that beauty pageant, and that opened so many doors for me. Since then, I became a dive instructor. I also got to spend 3 months of my life in the Maldives, where 6 days a week I would jump into the ocean and go on the research boat studying these animals in their natural habitats. And since then, I met so many inspiring people, scientists, underwater photographers, divers, and general people that trying to do what they can to protect what they love. And then I got a chance with all the knowledge I learned in the Maldives to come back to Thailand and started Thailand Manta Project in 2015. And here I am speaking with you and sharing with you what I learned. So first, let's get into it. What are the manta rays? Manta rays are fish. They're one of the largest fishes in the world. They're not mammals or anything, okay? And they're in the family which we call cartilaginous elasmobranch fish. As the name said, they do not have bony skeleton. Instead, their skeletons are made of cartilage or the soft bones, like your earlobes here or the tip of your nose. So that makes them quite buoyant and very, very flexible. In the family of cartilaginous elasmobranch fish, it basically include all of the sharks and rays in the world. It's just a really long fancy name scientists are using, okay? So don't be afraid by the name. So these fishes, there are over 1,160 in the family, and we divided 510 species of those into sharks, and 650 species are rays. But today we're focusing on the manta rays. A little bit more about the cartilaginous elasmobranch fishes. Basically, they have been through a lot of adaptive radiation, and they have evolved so much to be with us today the way that they are. So they're really, really old, even older than the dinosaurs. They usually have 5 to 7 gill slits, as you can see in sharks and rays in general, and they have internal reproduction. So as I mentioned, we're going to focus on the manta rays today, but manta rays, they're actually in another subfamily, which we call the Mobulide family, and in those there are 10 species altogether. We call them the devil rays, as you might have heard them before if you're a diver. Okay, so 8 species of the Mobulide family are the devil rays, and 2 species are the manta rays. How do you differentiate between the devil rays and the manta rays? First of all, manta rays are a lot bigger, okay? And if you want to look and make sure, try to look at the mouth, because the devil rays, they do have the subterminal mouth, which means if you look here and the jaw, the bottom jaw of the devil rays would go slightly towards the body, almost forming a 45 degrees angle. While the manta rays, they have terminal mouth, so the bottom and the top jaw, they're actually parallel to each other, and they have a terminal mouth. Today we're focusing on 2 species of the manta rays. But before we get there, how to differentiate the species, let's get to know a little bit about the manta facts. Where do you see these rays? You can see them in the tropical and subtropical area in the red conveyor belt, as you will see in this picture in the slide. And they are one of the largest fishes in the world. The largest rays ever recorded is the wingspan of over 6.8 meters. So they are really, really big fishes. They are very intelligent. They have the largest brain of all fishes compared to body ratio of all fishes in the world. And if you ever swim with a manta rays before, I bet you would agree that they are really, really smart, as you can see in their behavior and also the way that they look at you, the interaction that you have, and the interaction that they have with each other as well. And there are actually two coloration in both species of manta rays. The black one, which we call the black morph, they have the black dorsal fin, the black dorsal side, and the black ventral side. While the other one, the white manta, they have the black dorsal side, but white ventral side. So there are two coloration in both species. That doesn't mean the black one is one species and the white is the other. As I mentioned, there are two species of manta rays in the ocean. One is the reef manta rays, or the scientific name is Mobula alfredi, and the oceanic manta rays, or the Mobula birostris. How do you differentiate these two species? It's really, really simple. You need a training eyes and a little bit of trick to notice where to look, okay? Which I'm going to share with you right now. First of all, reef manta rays are the smaller species between the two. But by small, they could grow up to about 5 meters wingspan. So they're still really big fish. While the oceanic manta rays, they could grow up to about 7 meters wingspan. So now when you're swimming with the manta rays, if you're snorkeling, you most likely will see the top view or the dorsal view of the mantas. You can look at the coloration, the shading of the coloration, such as you can see in the slide that I'm showing now. For the reef manta rays, the white coloration of the white shadow is forming almost like an upside down letter Y. Why? If you look at the oceanic manta rays, all the color is more permanent and is forming the shape of an upside down letter T. If you're a scuba diver, you're most likely, if you're following the code of conduct correctly, should be having the view of the ventral or the belly of the manta rays, as you should stay lower than the animals to not block their path as when they're feeding or when they are cleaning. And as you can see here, the view of the belly of the manta rays. For the reef mantas, they are very spotty mantas. The spottier mantas, the spot starts from the gill area going all the way down to the belly area. While the oceanic manta rays, they have most of them a very clean chest. So there's no spots between the gills. The spot usually starts at the belly area. They also have this distinctive half moon shape at the last pair of gill, and also a more darker shadow on their pectoral fins, as well as inside the cephalic fins here, or people sometimes call them the horn. Okay? And last but not least, of course, the habitat, as the name said it all. Reef manta rays, you most likely find them in the coastal area or closer to the reef. They usually become more residential. And the oceanic manta rays, they like to roam a little bit deeper, go a little bit longer, and yeah, you see them mostly in the open ocean. Both of the species are migratory species, which means they're traveling and following the food, which are the plankton, and those plankton are just following the ocean currents. So that's why certain time of the year you can see the mantas in some place, and certain time you see them in other places. Such as in Thailand, we usually see the mantas coming in from November to around April. And they're most likely coming to clean here. If you would like to know more about the manta rays, I suggest you to visit worldwideweb.mantatrust.org. We have a lot of information about them. But today I would like to go more into the threats of the manta rays and to share with you why we need to do this research, and more importantly, what you can do to help our research. So now we know a little bit more about the manta rays. Let's get to know about a little bit of the sad part of disease. And this is not just the mantas that are suffering from this problem. It's also all species in the ocean are suffering. Bycatch is causing from the wrong method of fishing, using the wrong type of gear, such as trawling boats, and which basically just drag everything on the face of the ocean, including the coral reefs, and everything got destroyed. To help with this problem, it's very simple. Just know where your seafood come from and try to reduce your seafood consumption. You can save a lot of the beautiful fishes that you love just by choosing what you're eating on each meal. The second one is tourism. As you know, and you see on social media, people are more drawn into the ocean nowadays, and you see a lot of people going to the beach, want to swim with these beautiful fishes. So we have become having an impact to these animals. When you're inserting yourself into the ocean, that's not our natural habitat, it's theirs. So of course we make some impact. It's your choice to choose how much negative impact you want to leave. Try to reduce that to as minimum as you can, starting from choosing the right kind of sunscreen you're using before you go into the ocean. Make sure they're not full of chemicals and gonna damage the coral reefs. So as simple as that, just be more mindful of what you're doing. Just be more mindful that you are going into become a guest at another person's house. So behave yourself. And the last problem that not many people know that the manta rays are facing, that is manta fisheries. Why do they want to catch these animals? They catch them for their gill plates inside. As there has been a demand the last decade or so, which is quite a new trend for traditional Chinese medicine. And it only gets sent to a certain part, mostly in Guangzhou in China. Not all Chinese people eat this medicine though, because it actually does not exist in the traditional Chinese medicine book. It's just been added later on. So as you would thought, they have no benefit to you whatsoever into the medicinal world. So if you have a chance to get to try these manta gill plates, please don't try it. Just one time that you try it, it means you're giving the money to the seller at the restaurant, to give it to the retailer, and then give it to the fishermen, telling them that we want more manta gills. So your demand is your voice. Your money is your voice. Choose to spend it wisely. And this goes to all wildlife as well, not just the manta rays, okay? And if you don't have a chance to eat the manta gill plate, that is great. But what else you can do, help spread the awareness as well that the mantas are actually under threat from the manta fisheries. Now back to what you can do to help save the manta rays. You can help us spread the awareness, but more importantly, what we need as a researcher is data. Because to save something, you need sufficient data to prove to the government or people with power that are in charge, why does it worth to protect these animals? Luckily for us, researchers for the manta rays, manta have the distinctive spot patterns on their belly. Just like our fingerprints, these spots do not change over time, so we can use these spot patterns, just pictures or a video that show these spots, to identify the individual, as well as learning about the individuals, and goes all the way to the population, the migration route as well. So your simple photo can help save the manta rays all over the world. So I really encourage you to do this, or let your diver friends who might have had these pictures know and help save the manta rays together. This process is what we call citizen science, which leads me to the next thing that I would like to share with you. In manta research, a lot of the information comes from you, the divers and snorkelers, which is what we basically call citizen science. And you can become citizen scientists, all of you, by using your photos and video that you take that have the animals in them. You just need to find out a little bit more information, where to take the picture and what to submit, whom to submit it to. But citizen scientists is basically a collaboration between the general public using the photos and information with the researcher or the scientists to help gain the information and most likely hoping to protect the animals. This could go not just the manta rays, but all the species in this world. So if you don't live by the ocean, don't be discouraged by doing and becoming a citizen scientist. You can still do for your plants or the animals around you. So how come citizen science has become an important tool, an important part in our research and all of the wildlife researchers around the world? Basically, because right now, all of us have a tool that we're carrying in our pocket, and that is our cell phone, and the cameras, or the action cam where you take it with you everywhere. So why don't use these tools to benefit the research and the protection of these animals? Because these guys, they're worth a lot more alive than when they're dead. For the mantas, for example, if you fish them out, it takes so long to repopulate another individual, and there's a big potential that these species will go extinct. Instead, if we have the information and we spread the awareness and knowledge for the people of how important it is to protect these species, not only that they will help keep our natural world and our ecosystem in balance, which then end up saving ourselves, but also for the community around these guys as well. Such as where I am, Koh Lanta, a lot of people travel here each year just to see the manta rays alone. So these people generate a lot of money into the local island community that we have, and not just for the diving operation. That goes to the hotels, the transportation, and everything else as well. So instead of fishing them out and get just money for one group of people, keeping them in the wild, keeping them in the ocean, keeping them safe is actually help our economy grow and our community grows as well. Now that you learn why it is so important for you to become a citizen scientist, let's get to know how to you become one. It's very, very simple. Basically, observe. Seeing things that you think worth saving, that you love to start with. If you love something and then find out, how do you try to save these species? What do you need to do? What information do you need to get? When you see it, take a picture, snap it, and then simply send, but not just through social media. You should send it to the right person, like the researchers like me. We really, really need your data. We need your video, we need your photo to help us get the information as much as we can about these animals. After you see, you snap and send, don't forget to self-educate. Keep on educating yourself of the information you will need to protect the species that you love, and keep on spreading this awareness to the friends near you, because we need more of you to help protect our natural world that we have, because it is basically saving our future. Most of the time, you don't just need the photos, but the information around it as well, such as date, time, and location of sighting. And if you have more information, if you have more time with the interaction with the animal, try to notice and observe their behavior as well. Were they feeding? Were they cleaning? Or if you're lucky, were they mating? And then go into the more detail the more time you have. If you have time to notice the sexual dimorphism of the animal, what sex is it? Is this a male or female, adult or juvenile? Do they have injury, any pregnancy that you can see, or any mating scar that you can see? But of course, all of this information is quite in-depth, and that's why keep on educating yourself about the species that you love, so you can help bring your data into the fullest information that we have. And remember, most of all, that we are only the visitors in their world. Sustainable tourism is very important, not just tourism. We need to make sure that it's all done sustainably, so our future generation can have the same experiences that you are having right now, 10, 20, or maybe 100 years later. Always respect the host and their home, because remember, we are only the visitors in their world. Last but not least, remember there is more than one way to help. Today I am talking to you about the manta rays and sharing with you what is citizen science. But citizen science is not the only way that you can help the research and the projects that are doing these researches. First of all, you can help us spread this awareness. If you enjoy watching this video and you think it is useful for you, maybe it's useful for your friends as well. So please help share this. Help share the information that you learned today, and therefore we can keep on protecting and spreading the information, the right information to more people. And lastly, for us to be able to keep on what we're doing and keep the project going requires strong funding. So please donate. Every donation counts, and we truly appreciate it. If you require further information or would like to get in touch, feel free to contact me at jamie@mantatrust.org, or learn more about manta rays and our wonderful ocean world at worldwideweb.mantatrust.org. Thank you again to Matters Academy for allowing me to share my experience and my knowledge with all of you. I hope you find this useful. See you next time.